Yeah, welcome back. So today I am going to do a couple of more examples on the unconstrained optimality conditions, global minimum, and Korsio function. So let me start with a very nice example from Burtsikas. Uh, this is the famous arithmetic geometric mean inequality, which is to state that the geometric mean of n positive numbers written as x1 x2 to into xn whole to the power 1 nth root of that is less than or equal to the corresponding arithmetic mean x1 plus x2 and so on up to xn. So this is what we want to show, and all xi's, that is x1 x2 xn to xn, are strictly greater than 0. To show this inequality, first of all, we notice that xi is greater than 0, so it's an open set and a constraint. We will first convert it into unconstrained optimization problem by using the same trick that we did in the last lecture, which is transformation of variables. And the positive variables can always be written as xi can be written as e to the power yi. Xi is equal to e to the power yi unrestricted in sign. So it could be positive number, it could be anything. It's just a real number. So rewritten like this, our geometric mean is now going to be e to the power y1 into e to the power y2 and so on up into e to the power yn whole to the power 1 by n, which is equal to e to the power y1 plus y2 and so on up to yn by n. This is my geometric mean, and the arithmetic mean will be now e to the power y1 plus e to the power y2 and so on up to e to the power yn by n. And now what is it that we want to show? To show that LHS, which is sigma yi by n, the geometric mean, is less than or equal to this sigma e to the power y1 plus e to the power y2 by n. I is equal to, I varies from 1 to n in both the cases. So one way of looking at it, if you want to just treat it as a unconstrained minimization problem, then what you want to show, what you are want to show now is that uh, sigma I equal to 1 to n e to the power yi by n minus e to the power I equal to 1 to n, this is greater than or equal to 0. So this is what, let's call this function as function psi in variables y. And so if we minimize phi of y over all y, we would like to show that this global minimum is 0. If this global minimum is 0, then it is either 0 or positive, which is equivalent to showing that geometric mean is less than or equal to arithmetic mean. Because this is one same nice and simple transformation that I just showed you. But we can, in this example, do something more elegant. So, what I am saying is, you look at this. You look at this inequality. There is a RHS and there is LHS. Suppose you could fix LHS. To fix LHS, what I will do is I will fix y1 plus y2 and so on up to y1 equal to some s, some positive, some s is some s, the I am taking and fixing it to that. Then what happens to LHS? LHS simply becomes e to the power s by n, and since I can choose any s, it's my choice, choose any s, choice is arbitrary, so I am not creating any restriction in my optimization problem. Then what is it that I need to show? I need to just show that RHS, if I minimize the RHS, which is minimize e to the power y1 plus e to the power y2 e to the power yn by n, if I minimize the RHS, it should go to, its minimum value should be e to the power s by n. If I show that, I am done. Then it means it's either its minimum is e to the power s by n, so either it is e to the power s by n or greater, and therefore our inequality is proved. But here we have now put a restriction that y1 plus y2 plus y3 and so on up to yn should be equal to s. This is the restriction that we have put. So our problem in the process has changed from unconstrained minimization to constrained minimization, and we have not yet picked up any tools or tricks for or theorems for solving this problem. So we may feel a bit stuck here, but we can again convert this constrained minimization problem in the next step to an unconstrained minimization problem by a simple trick of what I call elimination of a variable. Okay, so what I am going to do is I am going to write yn as s minus y1 plus y2 and so on up to yn minus 1. Then what happens to the minimization problem? This is my minimization problem here, right? This is my minimization problem here. I can convert this problem now to a unconstrained minimization problem only in n minus 1 variables by substituting for yn 1 s, I'm sorry, s minus y1 plus y2 and so on up to yn minus 1. And now if the original problem was a constrained minimization problem in variables y1, y2 to yn, this is a unconstrained minimization problem in variables y1, y2 to yn minus 1. Okay. All right. Good. Now question number 1. What is the necessary condition y star to y star to be minimum? Or rather, let me first ask you this question, that does it have a minimum? And then the question number 2 is, if yes, where? So fortunately, the first question in this case I can directly answer that yes, it has a global minimum. And where does the global minimum, where do I suddenly say this thing from? It's not sudden. We are discussing Corsiv functions, and indeed the above function, objective function, is Corsiv in nature. Why is it Corsiv in nature? Because first of all, notice that the objective function is only sum of non-negative terms. All right. So nothing will be subtracted from anything. So that's one thing for sure. So we don't have any, I had that problem earlier discussed of x1 minus x2, and then I showed that if you have a same alpha 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 tending to infinity, this remains at zero, and therefore the function is not such a function is not coercive. So there this problem was coming because of the subtraction. Here no such thing is there. All the terms that we are adding here are, all these terms are basically positive terms. So uh, if any yi goes to infinity, then one of these terms will at least go to infinity. Either either of e to the power yi's will go to, one or more will go to infinity, and hence the function will go to infinity. If any of the yi's goes to minus infinity, then the corresponding term here, e to the power yi, will go to 0, but the term component coming from here in this e to the power s minus y1 plus y2 plus yn minus 1, in this term yi now going to minus infinity will cause this thing to go to plus infinity, and hence again the objective function will go to infinity. Just to mention that earlier when I was taking yi to infinity, then e to the power yi was going to yi will go to infinity. I wrote it here, and correspondingly this term here in y1, this positive term here, this was going to 0. So now the, if I take the yi going to minus infinity, the behavior is just reversed. The first term component goes towards 0, and the correspondingly this component goes to infinity. And since you are adding only non-negative numbers, one of them in it is infinity, then the whole thing goes to infinity. So therefore, whichever way y goes to infinity, our objective function also goes to infinity. Whichever way is important, okay? Whichever way y goes to infinity, the objective function also goes to infinity, which implies that this objective function is coercive and has therefore a minimum, indeed a global minimum. See, in proving these inequalities, like what I did last class, x plus 1 plus x is greater than or equal to 2 for x, all x greater than 0, or the geometric mean inequality which I am trying to prove today. In proving all these inequalities, you are looking only at global minimum because these inequalities are generic. So therefore, you know that also is a hint that the Weierstrass theorem is going to play some role there. It's not just calculating the stationary points and then showing local optimums around there. Anyway, now we have established that the problem has a minimum in y1, y2 to yn minus 1. The problem is e to the power y1 plus e to the power y2 and so on up to e to the power minimizing. We are minimizing this plus e to the power s minus y1 y2 to y1 yn minus 1. So this is what we are now trying to minimize, and this is our, if you, this function I am calling it as psi of y1 y2 to yn minus 1. We are minimizing psi of y1 y2 to yn minus 1, in other words. Then the necessary condition for optimality is that the gradient of this function, objective function, should be 0. So if you take partial derivative of, you have to look at partial derivative of y1 and y2 until the partial derivative of up to yn minus 1 and equate it to 0. So if you take partial derivative of psi with respect to yi, what will you get? From the first n summations here, you will just get, they are separable in the variables, and so you will just get e to the power yi, and from here you are going to get e to the power, first derivative will be done with respect to the same thing, so you will get uh, e to the power s minus y1 plus y2 up to yn minus 1, and then because of this chain rule application, this minus will come out here, and this will become, this will have to be set to 0. So you are going to get e to the power y1 is equal to e to the power s minus y1 plus y2 up to yn minus 1, and so on up to e to the power yn is equal to e to the power s y1 plus y2 up to yn minus 1. So like this you are going to get how many equations you are getting? N minus 1 equations are you are getting. So the first equation is y1 is equal to s minus y1 plus y2 up to yn minus 1. Second equation is y2 is equal to s minus y1 plus y2 up to yn minus 1, and so on. The last equation is yn minus 1 is equal to s minus y1 plus y2 up to yn minus 1. So if you take this to left hand side, you will get 2y1 plus y2 up to yn minus 1 is equal to s, then y1 plus 2y2 up to yn minus 1 is equal to s, and y1 plus y2 up to 2yn minus 1, the last term, should be equal to s, or if you put it in matrix form, it's going to be like this all the way up to last number 2, which is a n minus 1 into n minus 1 matrix, y1 plus y and y2 up to yn minus 1 is equal to s, 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 and s. So by symmetry, by the nature of the symmetry that you see in this equation, can't you say that y1 star, the solution, will be equal to y2 star is equal to yn minus 1 star here? Is it not? Can't you say that? You can argue this by symmetry, the symmetric structure of this, that all these variables will have to be identical. And once you have done that, then what do you get? So you will get, when you add every one of them, it is going to be ny star, because 2y star comes from here, and then the remaining n minus 2y will contribute only y stars, and 2 comes from here, so ny star is equal to y1 star, for example, is equal to s, or y1 star is equal to s by n, y2 star is equal to similarly s by n, and yn minus 1 star is equal to s by n, and not surprised at all to see that, therefore yn star, which is s minus y1 plus y2 up to yn minus 1, is also going to be equal to s by n. So all of them are going to be equal, y1 star to y2 star and so on up to yn star are going to be equal and is s by n. So then now let's get back to our optimization problem. What were we minimizing? We were minimizing e to the power y1 plus e to the uh, power y2, e to the power y1 plus e to the power y2 up to e to the power yn, and each of them is e to the power s by n, and then you sum it all together, it becomes n e to the power s by n. And because we are looking at arithmetic mean, we will be dividing it by n, which becomes equal to e to the power s by n, and that is exactly what our LHS was. We fixed the LHS to e to the power s by n. So therefore, and is there any other solution to the problem? No, this optimization problem had only one stationary point. Global minimization was established from the cursive nature of the function. So the stationary point that we have evaluated is actually the optimal solution, and we get x1 star is equal to x2 star is equal to xn star is equal to e to the power, each of them is uh, each of them would be actually this is enough. I think I am I saying that each of them should be identical. This is the condition that we get. Under this condition, now you can see that the geometric mean turns out to be x1 x2 up to xn to the power of n, which is x multiplied n times. So let's say this is equal to some same x here. So multiplied n times raised to the power 1 by n, which is equal to same thing as x. And if you look at arithmetic mean, then it is x1 plus x2 up to xn by n, which is again nx times by n, which is equal to n. So they are, if all of them are equal, if all of them are equal, then we get the condition that geometric mean is equal to the arithmetic mean, and everywhere else the geometric mean will be less than, strictly less than the arithmetic mean. Before I close it here, I just like to recap this with a simple 2 by 2 example, which is, you know that x1 minus x2 square is greater than or equal to is 0. Uh, will this example be a good example? No, I think not. So I think I am going to just break it here. Uh, yeah, I no, I think I can do that. What I am going to do is I am going to look at under root of x1 minus under root of x2 whole square is always greater than or equal to 0, and remember x1 is to be greater than 0, x2 is to be greater than 0. Then if I expand it, it is x1 plus x2 minus 2 of x1 x2 is greater than or equal to 0, or under root of x1 x2 is less than or equal to x1 plus x2 by 2. So this simple two variable thing, all right, the simple two variable thing that we did here, we have generalized, or Cauchy has generalized this to n variable problems and shown that geometric mean is less than or equal to arithmetic mean. Yeah, so we'll close this example here. Thank you.